What is up, everybody? Louis back here again for another fun night of fights. UFC Vegas 83. It was supposed to be in China, but it's in Vegas. We'll take it. You got a fun fight for the main event. Not the most important fight. Kind of a weird fight for a main event, but I'm so excited for it. At the bantamweight division, 135 pounds, you got number 8, Song Yadong, the Kung Fu Kid, taking on number 15, Chris Guapo Gutierrez. Gutierrez tried to get a call up, tried to make it past Pedro Munoz, couldn't do it. So, you know, he's got another opportunity here. It'd be a big win for him. And Song Yadong, this win doesn't really help him, but if he can get a spectacular finish in a main event, people are going to start talking about him again. You know, definitely not getting a title shot off of this one, but his only other loss is the Corey Sandhagen. It was a competitive fight. Could be good for him. And then in the co-main event at light heavyweight, 205 pounds, you got Anthony Smith, the Lionheart, making his last run, or is it ever going to be his last run? Number 8 taking on number 11, Khalil Rountree. Khalil Rountree taking the division by storm. He just knocked out Chris Daukaus, and before that, he had a razor-tight, controversial decision against Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby got a win after that fight, so Khalil Rountree's legit. Maybe he got a little bit of help from the judges, but he's here, he's violent. This is going to be a good one, man. Anthony Smith still trying to do things, still trying to prove to the doubters. So, we'll see. I think somebody's going to get knocked out. And then you got Nasrat Haqparast taking on Jamie Mullarkey. Nasrat Haqparast on a little bit of a run here. Should be a fun fight. You got Tim Elliott stepping in on short notice, taking on MUDAERJI. MUDAERJI coming off of a long layoff. Of course, that instant classic against the Matt Schnell. And then you got the Iron Turtle, Jung Young Park, taking on Andre Muniz. The Iron Turtle was on a 4-fight win streak. Andre Muniz on a 2-fight losing streak. Andre Muniz was just in the rankings. If Jung Young Park can get a win here, I think the middleweight's got a new guy to talk about. But let's get into it real quick. First fight of the night at 115 pounds, women's strawweight, Rainha dos Santos taking on TAIRA Alencar. Dos Santos took on Jillian DeCourcy, her last fight in Invicta. Will be her UFC debut. In the first round, she loads up with a couple counter hooks, and then she starts peppering her jabs. She'll throw the cross in there, but then she ducks under the overhand and lands an overhand right, and then she gets a body lock trip off of the hooks, but she's not able to hold her, but she pulls the guillotine, can't really get much going there. But then the second round, she gets clinched to the fence for a long time, able to break out of it eventually. But she's able to land a check left hook, and then a couple overhand rights on the fence, able to stuff the single, and then she's able to get on top, get some half guard going, a little bit of ground and pound. Then in the third round, she lands a right to the body and a left hook up top to the head. She gets pressed back and she eats a couple body kicks up against the fence and a face kick, just kind of staying at range. But she's on her back foot. She moves backwards a little bit, starts landing her jab. She lands a dip in overhand right. And yeah, it's kind of a good back and forth. TAIRA Alencar took on Stephanie Luciano on Dana White's Contender Series. In the second round, she gets a snatch, high crotch, but she eats a couple up kicks. But then she's able to work in a half guard, land some nice elbows there toward the end of the round. Then the second round, she gets pressed with a couple leg kicks into 1-2, but she gets extended on a high C, but she's able to pull it in and get to the back, and then transition in a full mount. She gets pressed and she eats a couple crosses, and then she'll panic shoot a lot, getting really tired at this point. Then in the third round, just completely exhausted, basically. In the third round, she gets tired, she gets pressed with some crosses and some knees. She shoots from way too far out, desperation. Then she gets stuffed, and then she moves back and she looks for a couple leg passes though. She pulls guard and looks for some leg passes, kind of just desperate, and then she eats a couple flurries, and then she kind of drops to her knee. So yeah, I don't know, just could not go a minute longer. Rainha dos Santos is minus 170. TAIRA Alencar is plus 140. You know, I think Alencar is going to look good in the first couple rounds. You know, how much is she going to gas out in the third round? I don't know, but I don't really feel like, Jillian DeCourcy is good, I guess. So it wasn't like a spectacular fight, but she looked good. She hit her with a couple big shots. Actually, I could see her landing a couple big shots down the stretch, but I'll definitely give the first round to Alencar. But Rainha dos Santos minus 170, a little bit pricey. I don't like betting 1-minute underdogs, but I just think TAIRA is just going to gas out. So I'm going to go with the Rainha in here. It's kind of against what I do most of the time, but we'll see. Minus 170. Maybe look for the live bet after the first round. Maybe get a better price on it. Second fight of the night, 125 pounds men's flyweight. Don't know why this is so down low on the prelims. Tatsuro Taira taking on Carlos Hernandez. Tatsuro Taira is the prospect at 125. This is not Muhammad Mokaev. The guy did one that doesn't get the bigger spots, but arguably just as good. But he's coming off a little bit of a tough battle against Edgar Chairez his last fight. In the first round, he eats some leg kicks and he gets dropped with a check hook real quick. Whenever he's coming in, he gets put in a guillotine, but then he's able to get into half guard and then transition him out. Starts landing some nice elbows, really turns it around toward the end there. And then in the second round, he gets a blast double into mount, lands some elbows, some more ground and pound, and then he pulls for the triangle at the end of the round. Then in the third round, he eats a couple jabs off his leg kicks, but then he gets a double right in a half guard, ground and pound. But then he gets caught in a guillotine toward the end of the fight, and it was pretty tight, and time expired. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, I think he's the better fighter, but, you know, he got put in some compromising positions. And then Carlos Hernandez took on Dennis Bondar his last fight. In the first round, he lands a 1-2 in the pocket, but then he gets countered with a hook in the pocket, and then he eats a 1-2 at range, but then he lands a hook combination in the pocket. Then in the second round, he lands overhand right, followed up with left hook, and he lands a jab and an uppercut, followed up by a cross, really quick, slick combination. But then he backs up and he starts peppering some jabs, and he looks to rip the body, but then he gets doubled, but he's able to pop right back up. He lands some hooks in the pocket, follows it up with a jump knee. Then in the third round, he lands some 1-2s whenever he gets pressed forward. But then he pumps some jabs, and he's able to stuff the takedown attempts. He's able to land some hooks and some elbows for his troubles. And then he gets a body lock back trip, lands some nasty elbows, gets a knockout toward the end of the fight. Really good stuff. Carlos Hernandez plus 440, Tetsuro Taira minus 600. It's Tetsuro Taira. Carlos Hernandez, you know, his wrestling's better. He's a lot slicker on the feet. He's got better submissions. He's an up-and-comer. The line is a little disrespectful to Carlos Hernandez. But, you know, Carlos Hernandez could hit him with a big shot, but we've kind of seen that happen to Tetsuro. And even if he does get rocked, he handles it well. You know, you just got to lay a chalk on some people, and this is one of them. I'm going to go with Tetsuro Taira. Third fight of the night, 135 pounds, women's bantamweight. Luana Santos taking on Stephanie Egger. Luana took on Juliana Miller her last fight in the first round. She presses with an overhand right, but then she eats a counter hook in the clinch. But then she lands a step in overhand right, rocks her, stumbles her backwards. She lands some lunge jabs whenever she presses her. And then she lands an overhand and throws a sloppy straight and a hook flurry against the fence. She gets a TKO, but she's throwing from like all the way out here. Not really worried about defense. So, you know, somebody could have caught her, but it didn't matter. Then Stephanie Egger took on Irina Alexieva her last fight. In the first round, she lands some crosses whenever she gets pressed. But then she gets clipped with a couple overhands, but then she's able to get her on her back standing. But then Irina rolls for a leg lock, and she gets submitted with a knee bar. So, I don't know if she just wasn't paying attention or what, but she was winning that fight and got knee barred. So, I don't like that. Stephanie Egger plus 130, Luana Santos minus 155. I'm going with Stephanie Egger because it's low-level women's MMA. And, yeah, I mean, Luana Santos might have had the better victory, but, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to go Stephanie Egger. I don't like betting favorites, so I'm going Stephanie Egger. Fourth fight of the night, 155 pounds, men's lightweight, Steve Garcia taking on Mel Squall Costa. Should be a banger. Garcia took on Shailin Norden-Beke's last fight. In the first round, he gets dropped with the right cross when he's throwing a kick, but then he's able to land a lunge, left cross, and a straight flurry, but then he gets taken out with the double. Then in the second round, he lands a head kick and some hooks, and he's able to stuff the shot, gets an underhook up against the fence, and then he's able to land a body kick and rips the body and gets a KO up against the fence. It really turns the pressure on. Great victory. Mel Squall Costa took on Austin Lingo his last fight. In the first round, he lands a 1-2 at range. He lands some body kicks and hooks, but then he gets clipped with a counter overhand left, but then he lands some head and some body kicks at range. Really starts throwing him out there, mixing it up. Then in the second round, he lands some body and leg kicks on the outside. He lands some step-in hooks, but then he gets clipped with a couple jabs on his way in. But then he gets pressed with a couple overhands where he's looking for his counter hooks. Then in the third round, he lands some body kicks at range. He lands a step back hook off of his overhand. He lands a 1-2-1 combo, gets a snatch single, and he's able to take his back, but he's not able to hold on to it for very long, like a minute or something, but it was enough time, and nothing really happened after that. So, yeah, pretty good victory for Costa minus 265, Steve Garcia plus 215. Yeah, I think Mel Squall Costa is the more dynamic striker. He's going to have a lot more volume, but Steve Garcia is nasty, and Mel Squall might get a little tired. So, and I don't like this line. Okay, Steve Garcia plus 215. Let's see what can happen. I'm going to go Steve Garcia. Why not? Let's not think about it too much. Fifth fight of the night, 125 pounds, men's flyweight. Hong Sung Park taking on Shannon Ross. Park took on Sunguk Choi's last fight. Road to UFC final. In the first round, he lands some step-in leg kicks and then he lands a step-in straight left. He eats a 1-2 off of his step-in hook, though. Then in the second round, he lands some step-in leg kicks, follows it up with a nice left hook. His kick gets caught, and then he gets pushed down on the ground. But he's okay on his back, and then he lands some lunge jabs toward the end, starts picking up the pace here. Then in the third round, he eats a right cross off of his jab, but then he lands a knee to the body. And then in the clinch, he's able to get around the back standing, able to take the backpack position, gets the body triangle, rear naked choke submission, rips that thing. Beautiful stuff. Really solid progression in those rounds. And then Shannon Ross took on Jesus Aguilar's last fight in the first round. He gets KO'd right away with the overhand right. Before that, he took on Clayton Rodriguez. The first round, he gets cut off on the fence. He hits a body kick and a hook flurry and gets TKO'd. So, yeah. And before that, he got knocked out. So, Shannon Ross, plus 440. Hong Sung Park, minus 600. It's a no-brainer. I'm going to go with Hong Sung Park. Hong Sung Park might not knock him out in the first round, but, I mean, he has a lot of ways to win. Yeah, I'm just not going to bet Shannon Ross. Sorry. So, Sun Young by knockout, plus 110, or submission, plus 165. We really haven't seen any evidence of Shannon getting submitted a lot. So, the knockout by plus 110, not a bad play. Sixth fight of the night, 170 pounds, men's welterweight, Song Kenan taking on Kevin JOUSSET. Kenan took on Rolando Bedoya his last fight. In the first round, he eats overhand. His overhand combos whenever he's coming, stepping inside the pocket, but then he's able to land a step-in jab, counter off the kick. But then he eats a couple hook combos in the pocket. And then in the second round, he drops him with a 1-2 off of the front kick. Really perfect timing. But then he backs out of the range of the hooks in the pocket. He's able to land a 1-2, and then he lands some lunge 1-2s. Then in the third round, he lands a lunge jab and then a lead left hook. But then he eats a leg kick and a body shot standing in the pocket. But then he lands a left hook to the body and then an overhand right to the head and drops him with that. And just really picking his spots and overexerting himself. And, you know, the guy's got nasty power. Might have waited a little too long to throw, but he got it done. Kevin JOUSSET took on Kiefer Crosby his last fight. In the first round, he eats a body shot and a leg kick standing at range. But then he starts pressing forward with his jab, starts throwing some body kicks, but then he eats an overhand right off of his jab. Then he's able to get a body lock in the clinch, and he's able to stuff the hip toss, and he's able to take his back and gets a rear naked choke submission. So, yeah, I didn't really see a whole lot out of him, but obviously decent in the scrambles. And good in the submission, Kevin JOUSSET, minus 162. Song Kenan, plus 140. You know, it's a tough one. It's about a coin flip, I guess. Kevin JOUSSET looks like he might be a cleaner striker. Song Kenan has that one-touch power, though. And Song Kenan can go 3 rounds, but Kevin JOUSSET, you know, I just think if it gets down and dirty, I think I would like Song Kenan maybe. Song Kenan, you know, Kevin just said it's not really a power puncher. So, plus 140, I'm going to go Song Kenan. We'll see what happens. First fight on the main card, 185 pounds, men's middleweight. The Iron Turtle, Jung Young Park, taking on Andre Muniz. Andre Muniz really needs a win here. Jung Young Park, this could be 5 in a row for him. If he finishes Andre Muniz, I mean, you know, he's going to be another fun guy in the top 15. Probably get a decent matchup after that. Maybe Paul Craig, who knows? Jung Young Park took on Albert Duraev his last fight in the first round. He backs up, lands some jabs, but then he gets pressed with a couple hooks, but he's able to catch the kick and pulls a very tight jump guillotine for the end of the round. Pretty tight, really good guillotine attempt. But then in the second round, he gets taken out of the blast double, but he's able to use the fence. He's able to get back up, and he starts pumping his jabs. He hits a couple overhand rights in the pocket, but then he starts ripping the body and lands some uppercuts up against the fence. Then he drops him with the left hook, and then gets on his back, rear naked choke submission. First, he's going for the submission, then he lands some ground and pound, and then he goes for it again. Like, he did not give up on that submission. That's what you want to see out of the Iron Turtle. It was great. Andre Muniz took on Paul Craig his last fight in the first round. He lands a step-in 1-2-1 combination, then a head kick out range. He's able to catch the kick and get a takedown. Then in the second round, he gets taken down with a body lock trip. He goes for a triangle attempt, transition to an armbar. He's able to use that to scramble, get back to his feet. He's able to get the double leg off the fence, lands some nice ground and pound, but then he headbutts them, and they stand him back up. So low IQ right there, minus points for me. But then he gets blast doubled, and he gives up the mount, and then he eats some ground and pound and gets TKO'd. So, I don't know. On Germany's plus 150, Jung Young Park minus 180. Dude, I like Jung Young Park, but I don't like Jung Young Park at favorite money. And Andre Muniz, you know, he fought 2 good guys. I think Brennan Allen's really good. Paul Craig is hit or miss, but he doesn't suck. And, you know, Andre Muniz is going to be the better grappler. but, you know, Jung Young Park might be able to hit a little harder, so I don't know. I really don't. And they have a similar skill set, but Andre Muniz is more complete on the ground, better off of his back. He's got more tricks up his sleeve. But if it goes to 3 rounds, I don't really like Andre Muniz, so that could be an issue. But plus 150, I'm going to go with Andre Muniz. It's a toss-up, but, you know, if Jan Turner proves me wrong, I won't be mad. Second fight on the main card, 135 pounds, men's bantamweight. Tim Elliott stepping in on short notice, taking on MUDAERJI. Both flyweights. They're moving up a weight class, though. So, but Tim Elliott took on Muhammad Mokaev his last fight at flyweight in the first round. He eats a hook, but then he's able to get the snatch single. Doesn't do a whole lot with it, though. But then back up on the feet, he eats a cross, but then he rips the body, but then he gets taken out on the double. And, you know, he's moving on the bottom, but doesn't really do much. Second round, he gets doubled, and he tries to go for the guillotine, and he lands a couple elbows off his back. Goes for a somewhat decent triangle. Then in the third round, he eats a front face kick, but then he's able to get the front head. Lands a couple knees to the head on the ground. Was Muhammad up? Was he down? Who knows? That rule's really annoying. But, you know, he hit him a couple times, kneed him a couple times, and didn't take a point. So, but then he gets taken down with a peek out, and then he gets submitted with an arm triangle. So he was doing really well. Muhammad Mokaev was very slick, and Tim Elliott looked pretty tired, to be honest, toward the end of that third round. So yeah, he scrambles a lot in the first round or two. He's really explosive, but yeah, here's what it is. But yeah, I don't know. It seemed like he kind of conceded the takedown too in the second round, so I don't really know. And it looked like he was a little overzealous to pull the guillotine, so I don't know, man. MUDAERJI took on Matt Schnell his last fight. So it was like over a year ago, it was a little while ago. In the first round, he lands a front kick, but then his hook gets ducked and he gets doubled into the mount. But he gives up his back, but then he's able to reverse. But then he gets swept with the omoplata. And then in the second round, he lands a counter left hook off of the right cross. Then he drops him with a couple left crosses. And then he starts landing a couple step-in elbows from like a clincher position. Like grab the wrist, step-in elbow. But Matt Schnell did not go to the ground because he's a zombie. But then he's able to drop him, and then drops him with the right elbow in the clinch. But then he lands some left crosses and some hooks in the clinch. But then he gets backed up with the hook. Then he gets wobbled with the straight right from range. Then he gets doubled, eats some ground and pound. He's able to reverse, but then he gets caught in a triangle and gets submitted. So really tough. He had Matt Schnell dead to rights, basically. But he didn't worry about his defense, and he didn't pick his shots when he was going for the finish. So it was tough. And Matt Schnell's just a demon. So, but yeah, he looks pretty good, man. But you know, he did take a heck of a beating on the bottom. MUDAERJI plus 140, Tim Elliott minus 170. Yeah, this is another tough one. I don't think MUDAERJI is going to be able to stop the wrestling at Tim Elliott if Tim Elliott decides to wrestle. Because whenever Tim Elliott wants to wrestle, that's, you know, he can secure doubles, and that's all he'll do. And he'll kind of play it safe. And since it's short notice, I'm going to think that's what he's going to do. But like against Victor Altamirano, didn't want to strike with him, ate some shots on the feet, was able to get the takedowns. I think that's how this fight's going to go. It's kind of like it's not the smartest pick, but I just really think Tim Elliott's going to win. Yeah, minus 1 set. I don't like the long layoff from MUDAERJI. He took a beating his last fight. So, and Tim Elliott's got a relatively decent chin. Minus 170 is a little pricey, but I'm going to go with Tim Elliott. We'll see what happens. I hope I'm not wrong on this one. That would suck. Feature fight of the night, 155 pounds. Men's lightweight, Nasrat Haqparast taking on Jamie Mullarkey. Nasrat on a little bit of a win streak here. Both fighters took on John Makdessi recently, so I'm going to compare them. John Makdessi, Haqparast against Makdessi in the first round. Nasrat circles on the outside. He pumps his jab, throws a head kick, and then second round, and he lands an overhand left, and then a right uppercut, and he lands a lead right and left hook combination, and then he lands a right to the body, and then he drops him with the left hook, counter off the back fist, and then he lands a lunge straight left, and then the lead right hook. Then in the third round, he lands just a couple step-in body hooks, and then he eats a 1-2. He gets pressure backwards, kind of not worrying about keeping his hands up, but then he backs up, and he lands a double jab, and then with a straight, and then he gets a blast double whenever he gets pressed. He gets that 2 times, doesn't do much with it, but it's enough to win. Just kind of stays active and throws a lot of volume. So MULLARKEY took on John McDessie's last fight. In the first round, he landed some lunge jabs from range. He landed some body and some leg kicks, then he'll circle to the outside, but then he gets pressed, eats a 1-2. Then in the second round, he lands a lunge jab and then a 1-2, but then eats a head kick. But then he pumps a jab, circles on the outside, gets back, moves back, but then eats a hook off his body kick, but then he gets dropped with the right cross in the pocket toward the end of the round there. And then in the third round, he starts pressing with some jabs and some crosses, and he throws a 1-2, followed up with uppercut combo. He'll throw that, but it was short whenever he threw it. So, then he eats a back fist from range coming in. Then he was able to land a switch knee, falls right after that. So, he's got that element of surprise. Then he lands a lead lunge hook, but then he misses, and he eats a counter jab. But then he gets pressed with some jabs, and he throws a 1-2, and then an uppercut, but he's too far away. And, he just, toward like the last 15 seconds, he just ate a couple shots coming in there. Got a little desperate, but got the win anyway. MULLARKEY, plus 150. Nasrat Haqparast, minus 180. Another close one. But I just think MULLARKEY is going to get outstruck here. Nasrat Haqparast, not really a power puncher, but he has dropped guys if he hits them in the exact right spot. So I think that's what's going to happen. And I think MULLARKEY might get a little desperate. MULLARKEY's taken some damage recently, so I just think Nasrat Haqparast is getting a little better. He can get the doubles when he needs to. I don't like the line at all, but yeah, can't bet every underdog. So I'm gonna go with Nasrat Haqparast. I think he kind of just outstrikes him. Co-main event of the night, 205 pounds, men's light heavyweight. Anthony Lionheart Smith, the number 8 ranked contender, taking on number 11 Khalil Rountree. Big opportunity for Khalil here. If he can finish Anthony Smith, or even just get a win over him, then he might be in talks for title contention. Not right away. He'll need one more big fight, but he'll be a guy people are talking about. And if Anthony Smith can win, he'll just show everybody that he can still do it, and he can beat these up-and-coming guys and be the ultimate gatekeeper to the top 10. So I'm excited. Anthony Smith stepping in short notice because, he's crazy. So we'll see, though. Anthony Smith took on Ryan Spann his last fight in the first round. He lands a lead left hook and then a counter overhand right. And then he lands a leg kick and then a jab, gets the foot sweep, and then lands a right hook when Spann comes up, rocks him pretty bad. Then he eats a straight right off of his leg kick, kind of throws some step-in naked leg kicks. But then he eats a hook, but then he's able to complete the double leg. Then in the second round, he eats a counter left hook off of a long lead left hook, and then he gets rocked with that, and then he eats a jump knee, and then he just kind of pulls guard for some reason. I guess that worked. He didn't get knocked out. But back up on the feet, he lands a lunge jab and then a straight right whenever Spann's loading up. Gets one good shot in at the end of the round. Then in the third round, he eats overhand off of his leg kick. Then he lands a right cross, counter off the hook, and then he backs up, lands a 1-2, and then a lunge left hook. Starts picking his shots a little bit more. Both guys kind of slowed down that round. But yeah, pretty competitive, pretty back and forth. Got the split decision. Khalil Rountree took on Chris Daukaus his last fight. Daukaus coming down from heavyweight in the first round. He gets pressed right away with the 1-2 and then a hook. But he's able to get out of range and kind of collect himself. But then he gets pressed with some right hooks and he backs up. But then he lands a step in straight left. And then he's able to land a check right hook inside the pocket. He was kind of prepared for it. But then he's able to stuff the single. And then he gets the arm triangle up against the fence. Doesn't do much with it, though. I don't think he was thinking about going for a takedown. I really haven't seen the guy wrestle much. But then he lands a knee to the head on the break. And then kind of just out of nowhere at range, step in straight left, gets a knockout. So, yeah, I don't know. Chris Daukaus doesn't have the best chin. But, still impressive. He did what he was supposed to do. Knocked him out in the first round. Khalil Rountree, minus 205. Anthony Smith, plus 170. I don't like short notice. I think Khalil Rountree's on the rise, but I think he might be a little limited in the grappling department. Anthony Smith, not the greatest grappler in the world. He can't use his grappling to get advantageous positions to land ground and pound, but he can get a rear naked choke if he has to. And also, he can use it on the bottom to get out of a bad situation if he gets hurt, which I can see happening. So, Anthony Smith's got the advantage there. He's got a couple more tricks. And, if the fight goes to 3 rounds, Khalil can go 3 rounds. So can Anthony. Anthony gets a little sloppy toward the end of 3 rounds, but he can go. And he can take punishment. And Anthony Smith is really hard to actually finish. So, it's an interesting matchup. How does the 1 week preparation come into that? But Anthony Smith is plus 170. I thought this would be like a toss-up fight, and it's not. Plus 170 for veteran Anthony Lionheart Smith. I'm going to go with Anthony Smith. We'll see. It could be the day that all the damage finally catches up to Anthony, but I don't think today's going to be the day. So, we'll see. Main event of the evening, 135 pounds, men's bantamweight. Number 7, Song the Kung Fu Kid Yadong taking on number 15, Chris Guapo Gutierrez. Chris Gutierrez obviously has a huge opportunity. He failed his step up against Pedro Munoz, so now he's got another crack at it. If he can beat Song Yadong, he's right into the contention, even though bantamweight, it's really hard to get a title shot at bantamweight, but, you know, Marlon Vera is fighting for the title, so anybody's kind of got a shot now. And I guess Merab's coming back. Who knows what Henry Cejudo's doing? So yeah, it's kind of up in the air. So you want to get as many wins in these ranked matchups as you can. And then Song Yadong, you know, if you can get a spectacular finish over Chris Gutierrez, people are going to be talking about him. People are going to finally say he's legitimate. He deserves a step up in his next fight. Probably get a really big fight his next fight. Maybe even a title on there. Who knows? But yeah, should be a fun fight regardless. Song Yadong took on Ricky Simón his last fight. In the first round, he walks into a double jab and a cross, but then he's able to land a left hook in the pocket. Then in the second round, he drops him with the hook flurry on the fence. But then he gets doubled, but then he's able to get right back up. Actually, it's kind of like a headbutt type of deal, but he also did land some punches, so I don't know. But he's able to duck under the right hook, and then he lands a right hook to the body off of Ricky's jab, and then he throws a hook, and he's able to land a teep to the stomach. He lands a right and a left hook to the body, and then he lands a lead left to the head. Then in the third round, or he'll go a lead left to the body as well, but he was really focusing on the body, really opening it up. And that's good to do against a wrestler because they can't get below the body shots. Then in the third round, he lands a lead left to the body, but then he walks into some jabs. But then he lands a teep and a left cross off of Ricky's jab. Then in the fourth round, he lands a body hook combo and then a left hook to the head in the pocket. Then he lands a step back cross off of Ricky's jab again. And then he drops him with a check left hook off the cross with like a second left. And then in the fifth round, he lands a left hook to the body off of Ricky's overhand right. And Ricky's getting a little desperate now. He knows he needs a knockout. He's kind of pressuring a little more than he normally would. But then he drops him with the counter left hook off of the jab. And then just gets a TKO. So, yeah. Really powerful. And he was very patient. And he was able to go 5 rounds. He was able to throw a hard 5 rounds. He was able to stuff the takedowns. I don't think Chris Gutierrez is going to wrestle, but still, Song Yadong looks like he's jumped levels. And then Chris Gutierrez took on Alatani Ali his last fight in the first round. He kind of circles on the outside, throws some leg kicks, and he throws some step-in lunge jabs. He goes some leg in, some head kicks standing at range. You know, get a leg and then head kick pretty fast. He'll switch it up. Then in the second round, he circles on the outside, but then he gets clipped with some hooks off of his leg kicks. He'll kind of step in, and he has his hands down like most of the time, which is not good against Song Yadong, but we'll see. But he lands a step in, straight left, and then a right cross. Remember, he gets pressed, and then he lands a body kick, follows up with a straight left. Then in the third round, he gets cut off on the fence, and he eats a 1-2, but he's able to get out of there. It doesn't hurt him. But then he gets taken on the body lock, but then he gets right back up, and he's just sticking and moving, basically more like the first couple rounds. So there's a lot of activity from Chris Gutierrez. Not really sitting down on his punches, but just having more volume. Chris Gutierrez plus 285, Song Yadong minus 360. Yeah, sorry, but this one's a no-brainer. Song Yadong's the better fighter. Chris Gutierrez, ever since he got dry at Pedro Munoz, I think he's a little timid. He was timid in the rest of that fight. He was timid this whole fight. And, just peppering shots against Song Yadong is not going to get it done unless you can have a perfect fight for 5 rounds. But I think Song Yadong is going to crack him a couple times and hurt him. Unless Chris Gutierrez can finish him with leg kicks because he's done that before. But I just see Song Yadong on another level right now. And Song Yadong can wrestle a little bit too. So, yeah. I'm going to go Song Yadong here. Chris Gutierrez just not going to give it Song enough for Song to respect him. Song's going to get on the inside and just rip the body and find that left hook to the head. So, Song Yadong minus 360, pretty cheap price. You can go decision plus 175. I don't know why I think that, but Chris Gutierrez hasn't ever gotten knocked. I don't think he's gotten knocked out. Or it's been a long time since he has. But Song Yadong by submission, plus 900, for whatever reason, maybe he can get it. Who knows? Plus 900, pretty big win there, so I'd take that one. But yeah, I'm going to go Song Yadong. I think he gets an impressive victory over Chris Gutierrez, and he starts getting some more respect at bantamweight. All right, everybody, thanks for riding with me. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what's going on. Hopefully we get a perfect card. And been a fun year so far. We got one more next weekend. Let's see some upsets, let's see some violence, and let's see some profits. Good luck, everyone.